What is up, guys? David Eagle, David Payne, whatever you want to call me, is here. Kind of wanted to give a brief update since my last video. I haven't posted in over a month. Since I posted my last video, the response video to Craig Adams, or the application in essence to his residency program, I've learned a lot. In terms of the growth, I'm kind of really impatient and having a hard time sort of focusing on the process in terms of growing as a content creator, and it's kind of been very frustrating. I like watching people, I like watching other people's lives, and I like learning techniques from other people. I mean, I've watched YouTubers like Kai Wonk, Peter McKinnon. Yes, I've watched Casey Neistat as well. And throughout the whole process of watching them, I've kind of learned a lot and have these ideas I'd like to implement in my videos, but making sure it doesn't come off as a copycat or someone who's trying to emulate their style. Seeing their videos, I've kind of realized that like these guys, they're not as original as some people think they are. Kaiman, I keep getting his name wrong. Kai has his own style. Peter McKinnon has his own unique style, and Casey, he has his own style as well. But if you ask these guys, you know, hey, like, where did your inspiration start? People like Casey Neistat, you know, recently I found out that Nelson Sullivan, he was the first vlogger to document his day in New York City. And then Tom Sachs. Tom Sachs is another guy who has this crazy office that's like this OCD-ness, and he marks everything. And this was during the 90s, and no one would ever know this if they didn't do their research. So Casey, he sort of gets an easy pass in terms of how he develops content and where he gets his ideas from, because no one knows who Tom Sachs is. When you think of Sachs, you might think of Goldman Sachs or Sachs Fifth, but you don't think of Tom Sachs, the content creator. So if he was on YouTube today, people would be calling out Casey for being a copycat. And what I find incredibly frustrating is whenever someone implements a time lapse, whenever someone wants to use a drone shot, they sort of get accused of being a copycat. And just the other day when I was looking at one of Kai's videos, Kai did a review on the DJI Spark, the new drone that had just came out. And in the comment section, I scrolled down, and of course, you know, I was looking to give him some credit for putting up an amazing video, and someone accused him of being like Casey. In fine arts, in dance, in music, filmmaking, art, it's very difficult to be the first to do something. Casey's very great at vlogging his day, making it look cinematic, but you know, we're giving him way too much credit, and oftentimes this crushes smaller YouTubers. For me, I'm kind of putting the brakes on looking into other people's lives as much, because it can get discouraging. You know, I like watching films, but I kind of want to be that person to start creating content. I spend a lot of money on something I enjoy doing, but I kind of don't want to be like a gear collector, someone who just is like, hey, I make films, blah, 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 and then you spend all this money, you don't ever put out anything. So it's a matter of me. It's a matter of me putting some type of effort forward and appreciating the content, appreciating the art, and just appreciating the process. I mean, Casey, he's been developing films since the early 2000s, and where was I in the early 2000s? I was in middle school. Yeah, I was in middle school, and I'm sure most of you guys, I mean, maybe you guys were in middle school as well, but instead of making excuses, I kind of have to realize that there's going to be a process. I got to be patient, and I have to be intentional in terms of what I want to do. Why is it so, the light is like freaking me out. So with that said, I kind of want to take a little bit more risk and not be afraid of failing, appreciating the feedback, and just growing as a person, because we all have to start from somewhere. I know that for those guys, the 3 YouTubers I just mentioned, I mean, they weren't always as magnificent as we see they are today, and they certainly have peaked, and they're showing us what it's like to be a content creator and have fun doing it. I just have to realize that it's now or never. It's never too late to do something I've always wanted to do. 10 years ago, I was playing football in high school, considering making films. So as a final point, I'm asking you to stay with me on this journey to greatness. It'll take a while before I actually feel like I perfected my craft. I want to be as good as those guys, and I've definitely been inspired, which is why I spent this amount of money on this gear. Like I said before, I don't want to be a gear collector. That's the end of it. I don't want to keep this thing going. I just sound like I want to go off on these huge tangents. I think you've gotten the point.